just a little bit about our approach. So as SharePoint's a platform, unfortunately, and often it goes with IT, it's left with IT, so IT are responsible for implementing all the programs and applications and that in the business, and so they'll just kind of roll out SharePoint and go, okay, well, here you go, here business, here's SharePoint, and go for your life. We don't know too much about it, but we've set it up because it's easy enough to set up, and you can just start using it. And at that point, what happens is just a couple of things can happen. If everyone has reasonable access, it can become a sprawling mess. And we've seen it where in companies that have had like 5,000, I mean, if you knew what a site collection was, you'd be amazed. Like 5,000 site collections, it's just mind-boggling. It's like having 5,000 different share drives or something, you know, or bigger than that even. And so just a complete mess. So you can quickly make an absolute mess of SharePoint. Unfortunately, it's a lot easier to fail at using it than it is to succeed with it. So what we have pared it down into a certain number of elements that we think are necessary to make it a success. And if you're going to miss on one of those things, it can really become a point of failure for you. So I wrote this article a couple of years ago for Sydney Morning Herald, why going to work is like going back in time. So this is one of the critical things about SharePoint. If you're still going to work and you have SharePoint and you feel like you're still going back in time, as in you're living in Outlook and you're working out of a share drive where you can't find anything, and sharing information is really a problem, and you're just forever on the phone, forever in meetings, forever over email, you're really not working efficiently, and it's like being back in time, because you know how efficient things can be these days, right? You got a smartphone, you got a tablet, you can, I can, Skype with my mother, I can do all these kinds of things so easily, right? All the time. And personally, it's very easy. And we go to work, it's like, oh my God, it's so hard. So why is that? Especially we've got tools like SharePoint. So some of the elements of success are, we think, UX, centered around the user. So the user design, the user experience, right? So IT traditionally go, oh, design, that's just for marketing. We don't really care. But it's important, as we know, for end users. You see something, you want to engage with it, you like the look of it, you're more likely to engage with it and be interested in it, like that. And thinking about that end user, again, a lot of people, they roll out something and they're just kind of thinking about themselves. They're not really they don't understand it from the end user. So we've seen, for example, with a real estate agency, that the marketing department had a concept around a brand center, so all these franchises could download these different assets, right? So whether they needed a logo or a poster, or they wanted to order a signboard, for sale and all that. So the marketing team got together with a developer and said, okay, we needed to do this and this and this. And so the developers, they built this whole thing, cost a lot of money. And the end users, the franchise users, came to use it, and they were like, oh my God, like they were just completely confused because it was just so much information. It was like a back-end system for the marketing department to manage all the collateral, not a front-end view for the franchise user who's not very technical savvy and just wants to order a signboard, right? So if you're not thinking in that way, and unfortunately, most of us technical people don't think in that way, We're just like, okay, tell me what you want, and I'll build it for you, But not the ability to really go, is that really what you want? Hang on, tell me your business problem. Hang on, let's talk about that, and then coming up with a solution that might be quite different than what, because look, we're all good at what we do, hopefully, but not everyone's a solution engineer as well on top of that. So we can't expect business users to be solution engineers, or a lot of IT staff to be solution engineers either. So that's one of the reasons that like Santos contacted us, is they heard about the work we did at CBA, and so we're quite strong on that. And I just had Asset contact us as well, because based on this as well, they're really into the user journey, user experience. It's important. Okay. Clear governance is important. So again, it's just about that sprawling mess, So you don't want to lock it down so people can't do anything, but you don't want to open it up so people can do everything wherever they want. So it's just, a lot of this is common sense, but if you've never done it before, you don't realize it, and you can just get yourself in a lot of trouble. Okay, code-free development. So how many people have ever gotten kind of created an intranet and then gotten told, oh no, we can't change that module. Oh no, oh, this is going to be too much. It's going to cost too much, and you got stuck, right? Any hands? Okay, a few hands. Okay, like quite a few hands. Okay, 6, 7, 8 hands. So this can happen a lot. So often with developers, they'll fantastic developers really know about .NET and everything, and they get told to build something. Oh great, and they just get out their big toolbox and love coding it up, which is great. And then later it comes around to changing, upgrading. It can be a real problem. So what we do a lot in WebVine is code-free development. So still development, but you're using these jigsaw pieces that I mentioned rather than getting out lines of code. But what it means is, for example, okay, we took on a client, and one of the first things they said was, our intranet is loading really slowly. It takes 15 seconds for the second half of the homepage to load. So we said, okay, we'll have a look. And it had this little thing of all these little apps, little applications that you could click. So we had a look at how it was done, and a very clever developer had developed this whole really fancy way of doing it and presenting the apps and doing all that. And it probably took a week. It probably cost them, $7,000. And we had a look and we thought, and in 30 minutes we were able to just do it in a normal SharePoint web part, where it's very easy to edit, where the business could edit very easily, and the page loaded like that. So it's over-engineering stuff. So a lot of .NET developers get into SharePoint, but you can still program the things in .NET, and that's what they know, and that's what they continue to do. Does that make sense? But it's got these Lego blocks like lists and libraries and forms and different things and workflows that you can stick and pull together to produce something that's upgradable, manageable, maintainable, changeable. It's a lot easier. Okay. A little bit IA, I mentioned search strategy. Your information architecture is also kind of important. It's like a little map of where people find information. So if you have an intranet portal and you've got your navigation bar and things, does it make sense? I'm always thinking of if you got a new employee came in the morning and they wanted to go to the intranet to find something, would they be able to look at it and know where to go? Or would they have to have been in the company for years to understand the lingo? And it's amazing how many people, again, don't think of the end user, think of themselves, map it out according to their, and especially if they're a librarian or something, it's really obvious. And then and everyone else is completely lost, can't find, and they go, oh, can't find anything, I'll just go over here instead. And they stop using the platform. So it's just important. Again, it doesn't have to be, you don't have to go on months long of exercise to get the IA right, but you need to know enough to know that you have to think about it and try and approach it. Okay, so and the main thing, the reason for doing all this stuff is to get this, right, user adoption. So you can build all these beautiful things, and then if no one's going to use them, it's really sad, And there are so many broken-hearted intranet managers. I can't tell you, there are loads of them. But no one's visiting my intranet. It's like, don't take it so personally. It's not you. They're just trying to get work done. They're just busy. Like, they'd love to read the corporate news, but they just don't have time. They're just trying to get this work done because they're working in such inefficient ways over Outlook and a crappy share drive that they don't get time to go on the internet reading the corporate news. But if you made the internet a place of value where you can build some applications, you get some actual work done more efficiently, they'd come in, they'd get their work done really in there, and then they'd see the corporate news, and they might actually read it, and that would make the internet managers so happy, and we'd have a conference full of happy internet managers instead of broken-hearted internet managers, and that would be a fantastic thing. But it's down to this guy. So if users aren't using it, you got broken hearts, okay? It's broken, no good. So, and it's amazing, people get so consumed in a project, oh, it's going to be great, and put it out. Why isn't anyone visiting it? Oh, they're all just, people are just not tech savvy in my organization. But it's not that. This is you haven't thought enough about the end user and their pain points and what you can do for them. And maybe you just don't have enough knowledge to be able to deliver that to them.